Magazine Live is more than a television show. It is a trusted platform, a bridge between legacy and leadership, between community and impact, with authentic voices, meaningful conversations, and stories that resonate beyond the screen. This is Viva Magazine Live. Community, culture, we celebrate the leaders. Full episodes on our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Welcome to Viva Magazine Live. I'm your host, Blanca Blanco, and this is the show where we celebrate the stories, voices, and history that shapes our Latino community and our nation. Today's conversation is especially meaningful. We are joined by two distinguished historians whose work helps us better understand who we are, where we come from, and why our stories matter. Please welcome Dr. Jesús Esparza and Dr. Carlos Cantú, respected history professors and scholars who have dedicated their careers to preserving and interpreting Latino history, culture, and contributions and stories that too often go untold or underrepresented. Their research not only informs the classroom, but also empowers communities by connecting past struggles, achievements, and resilience to the world we live in today. And we are honored to have them with us for an important and timely conversation. Dr. Esparza and Dr. Cantú, welcome to Viva Magazine Live.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely. So let's just get right down to it, okay? Because I'm really excited to know a little bit about your personal background, because y'all are so much involved in the history of Latinos.
Yeah, so I'm originally from San Antonio, born and raised in San Antonio, and born...
My hometown, by the way.
Oh, okay, right on. I knew I liked you. Born to immigrant parents who are from Mexico, and so really my first introduction to Chicano history was through Mexican history.
Yes.
And so I grew up learning about Mexican heroes and the communities there and their resistance and the power of the people coming out of Mexico. And that was really my introduction to Chicano history.
So was there any particular moment or mentor or an event that made you say, history is what I want to do with my life?
There was. My parents, first and foremost, I knew that they wanted me to be grounded and connected to my history, my heritage, and my community, wherever that community might exist.
Yeah.
But in terms of becoming a professional historian, that didn't happen until many, many years later, when I was already in college as an undergrad, fumbling through what majors I want to, through several majors and what I wanted to major in.
Right.
But I eventually came across this discipline. And it happened sort of simultaneously. It happened because in one history class, I did an oral history project where I was asked to interview the oldest relatives I lived with, and I interviewed my parents.
Yeah.
And in that interview, I discovered that I did not know as much history of them and of our community as I thought I did.
Yeah.
Then there was also a moment where at the same time I was in college and I was part of an organization, the Association of Mexican American Students, or AMAS.
Yeah.
And my job in that organization was to be sort of like I provided 5-10 minute history nuggets about the community to the organization. And so I had to do a lot of research and stuff like that.
I bet you that was very impactful.
It was awesome.
The little nuggets are so important.
It introduced me to writers like Arnoldo de León, who's a giant in our field. And I read his book, which was his dissertation. And it really just kind of changed the way I thought about myself as a Chicano, as a Mexican American in that city and in the state, and really kind of just on the hemisphere.
Yeah.
And it was all those things taken together that pushed me towards this discipline. Professionally.
Dr. Cantú, so what was your path into history as a discipline, and how did your experiences as a student shape the kind of professor and researcher you are today?
Two moments alerted me to history, or my lack of knowledge of history. 9/11 happened. Before that, I was not interested in history. I was not interested in geopolitical happenings around the world.
Right.
I was in high school and even in early college, I was not a very good student. I was more interested in having a good time And
well, like most students are.
and you're right. And so when that happened, I was like, well, why did that happen to us? How could that happen to us? And so that sparked a little interest of like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so self-centered and maybe look,
some curiosity.
Open up my eyes a little bit more.
Yes.
And so that was a spark that kind of opened that up for me. My parents had always been, I have a family of educators. My dad was a Spanish teacher, then he was a high school counselor in South Texas, right, is where I grew up. Mission, Texas.
Mission, Texas. Yeah. Wow, I've been down there. It's a beautiful little community out there.
Well, it's flourishing now. It's blowing up. The whole valley is, and so we're 15 miles from the border.
Yes.
And so grew up in this a different landscape, right? Politically, historically, and I was not aware of the history locally. My parents, I grew up hearing stories about them being immigrants, about them being discriminated as, on their way to the harvest, and educational discrimination, but also their activism as well.
Yes.
And so that, I grew up listening to those types of stories, and it wasn't until college, right? So 9/11 happened. Okay, let me pay more closer attention to news and stuff like that. It was in college reading books like by De Leon, Camarillo, Vicky Ruiz, where I saw my family's history in there. And these are academic publishing houses that are telling these stories. And so that made me more, hyper aware of that, hey, these stories matter. The stories that my parents told me and the history that they experienced, that matters. And that became very, I internalized that.
Right.
And so my parents were activists. They met each other at a Chicano college that was founded in South Texas, Colegio Jacinto Treviño, the first Chicano college.
Just grew up in it almost, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, just through storytelling and action, and you see your parents grinding and working and trying to raise families and keep everyone honest and true and respectful. And so.
Sure. So both of you teach at Texas Southern University, and Dr. Cantú, you also teach at the University of Houston downtown. So how do those different campuses and students, communities influence the way you approach the classes? Because there are two different campuses there.
Can I speak to
Yeah, sure.
So, I teach, you're correct. I teach at UHD. There is more Latinos there. It's also a very diverse campus, right?
Sure.
Student-wise. But there's a lot of Latinos and Latinas that go to school. I teach an oral history class, and this semester I have a very diverse classroom, and it leans on Mexican American studies, Houston history, and I told them, this may not be your background. Don't drop the class. Please stay here because we're going to learn about each other, and this is a space for doing that.
And I think that's important, to learn about each other's cultures.
Well, we need more understanding in this world, right? About others, and to I'm an outsider when it comes to certain conversations. I want to be knowledgeable about that, and I think the students do too.
I'll add to that. So Texas Southern University is an HBCU, historically black college and university. So most of my students are African American, and I teach Chicano history there. I've been teaching Chicano history there for several years now. But the class resonates, and it resonates because some of my students, almost all the students, they see parallels in this shared history.
Sure.
And so they're like, wait a minute, that sounds like what happened in our community, and rightly so. My approach to teaching Chicano history at an HBCU is very simple. One, it's necessary, but two, I teach Chicano history as hemispheric history, as U.S. history. So Mexican-American history is U.S. history. Mexican-American Chicano history is hemispheric history. And so we're really teaching our students to kind of be this hemispheric citizens and even these global citizens. And so that's really my approach to it. That's why it resonates with them.
Yeah, and I like that you say hemispheric, because it is the hemisphere.
That's correct.
I mean, and I haven't heard that used. I guess that's something. Is it kind of a new type of category?
No,
category?
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, it's just, it's sometimes we have to sort of start thinking differently about how we see ourselves on this planet.
Right.
And, it really is something that it's a sort of a pushback, if you will, towards these arbitrary borders that kind of define nations and peoples, which have separated, like our peoples, for example.
Exactly.
And so this is a way to kind of sort of push back against that and sort of think about sort of this larger.
Like we're global. All of us are human beings, and we have different cultures, and we can, certainly share each other's knowledge and cultures and what have you.
That's correct.
How did y'all's family talk about history, culture, and politics when you were growing up? You mentioned that a while ago when you were growing up as a kid. And how did that influence the kind of stories y'all choose to research and teach. I mean, because, you know, growing up as well as I myself, my grandmother told me a bunch of stories back then that she experienced as a child, and how she had to work in the cotton fields and, you know, pick cotton. And so I'm sure those kind of stories influence in how you research and teach your students.
Absolutely. And so a lot of that history that was shared with us is sort of family stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just asking my dad, when did you start working? And he goes on these stories, and he tells us when he was 16 years old and he was climbing up telephone poles to lay wire and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's simple conversations. It's not anything that was planned.
Right.
They're just very spontaneous. But in those conversations, reflecting on it now, I come to realize that there was a lot of talk about how they weren't paid equally, and how they were overworked and underpaid, or didn't have access to health care or benefits and things like that. And so while they never used the word oppression, in my mind, I was like, okay, well, those are forms of oppression. Mm-hmm. Those are forms of things that suppress them and keep them down, and keep the working class down. And that in many ways has impacted the way I do my teaching and the way I engage in my scholarship. Yeah. It's really about trying to expose the things that oppress us, so that we recognize them, call them for what they are, and then we think about ways to uplift. Right. It's always about trying to uplift. And so it was those family stories that embedded in me the idea that we are oppressed people for several reasons. Mm-hmm. But what more than that, what can we do to liberate ourselves, and like really liberate ourselves?
You have something to add to that, Dr. Cantú?
Yes, you know, my folks as well. I mentioned earlier about appreciation of these stories. I did grow up listening to these stories about them being migrant workers and going into a restaurant and being thought that they might be that they look like gypsies. We're going to serve them, right? Yes. No, that's not a proper terminology. But they were okay. But then when they spoke Spanish, they're like, oh wait, we don't serve Mexicans here. Yes. And so those types, you know, and they were both, my mother and father, were very open about those stories. So I heard those stories at a very young age and continue to. And then especially once I started asking for more, I want to hear more of these stories. I don't want to forget them, right?
Right. You want to preserve those stories and remember them to share them with your children, of course. So when you first encountered Chicano and Mexican American history in the academic setting, how did that change the way you saw yourself in your community? It
blew my mind because of you know, kind of a statement I made earlier about seeing this type of history in books, and not just a handful of books, but an explosion of books, right? Yes. An explosion of literature, historical literature. And so it really changed my thinking. I fell in love. Yes. I was calling myself Chicano. I saw myself, you know, it's a politically charged term. Sure. You know, I have this rebellious nature. I grew up as a punk rocker, and I continue that vibe, right, in myself. I fell in love, you know, I fell in love. Yeah.
Yeah, similarly for me, it's you know, I saw myself for the first time in books, and I didn't see myself as a villain or as a victim or as the bad guy or the enemy. Right. Like I did in schools K through 12. Unfortunately, that's just how it was. Right. San Antonio schools K through 12. That's how they taught my history. Right. And I knew better anyway. But when I really sort of became exposed to it, I was reading books by Guadalupe San Miguel, who eventually became my advisor in the PhD program. Yeah. And he was talking about how Chicanos have this long history of fighting back. Yeah. And I saw resistance there.
I gotta ask you this question. So, because you brought it up, what does the word Chicano mean to each of you personally, and has that meaning shifted over the years?
It has. Okay. It has for me. Like I said, when I first heard the term, and first, you know, I'd heard it in my own family, but I didn't associate myself or label myself or identify myself as a Chicano. When I would go to conferences like Knox, you know, I felt welcomed. I embraced the idea in the Chicanismo and self-determination, these types of themes. And yeah, you know, we are. I'm fighting to celebrate those voices. Sure. But let me just say one thing about, you know, this about activism and Chicano, right? They go hand in hand. Is that each generation uses the tools around them in order to uplift or to push back or to fight or to resist. Right. Just like the social bandits at the late 1800s, early 1900s, fighting against Texas Rangers or lynch mobs, and one man, one gun against a mob of of racists, right?
Right.
People that want to lynch them. We have mutual aid societies, you know, when there's no one to look to, no help, no safety nets, they created their own. In the courtrooms, right, legislation as well, those tools that become, as more Chicanos or Mexican Americans are entering higher ed, they're achieving, you know, becoming lawyers, becoming business owners, and even before that, but becoming legislators. And now I see myself in this new generation of activists, right, of using the tools that are available to me to uplift these types of stories. And I think that the Chicano conference that's coming up,
we're going to talk about that in a little while.
Absolutely.
So what about for you, Dr. Esparza?
Yeah,
what was that?
I fell in love with the term when I learned what it meant, and really it sort of defines how I sort of just live my life. In my mind, I'm a Chicano everywhere I go, not just in the classroom, not just in certain spaces. I'm a Chicano 24/7. And
Is that a difference between Chicano and Mexican American, or is it the same?
Depends who you ask. It's got several. People have different interpretations of that. And if I may say it this way, I learned it this way: a Chicano is a Mexican American who doesn't see himself as white.
Okay.
That's how I learned it. And forgive me if that offends anybody's sensibilities, but I will always defend term, and I'm proud to be a Chicano, and I'm proud to celebrate Chicanismo, and I'm proud to pass that on to the next generation of thinkers, of writers, learners, pass it on to my children. I just told this to my daughter the other day. I said, you're coming to this conference, and I want you to see other Chicanas in this conference so that you can make establish networks with them. And so I send my daughter, who's at UTSA San Antonio, and I ask her to go to events so that she doesn't forget that she's a Chicana.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of it. It defines who I am as a writer, as a teacher, as a thinker, as a father, as a community member, as a leader, and as a follower.
Yes, that is very important, especially to share with your family and your friends. So because that makes an impact.
Yeah.
It makes a really big impact. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're going to hear about the path to the NACCS Tejas Foco Conference coming up really soon. So don't go away. Welcome back to Viva Magazine Live, and we're here speaking to Dr. Jesús Esparza and Dr. Carlos Cantú, and we're going to talk about their path to NACS Tejas Foco Conference coming up soon at the end of February. So, Dr. Esparza, tell me a little bit about how you got involved, both of you got involved in the NACS Tejas Foco, and what convinced you that you needed help organize the conference here in Houston for both of you.
Yes, ma'am.
And please explain what that means.
Yes. So NACS is an acronym, and it stands for the National Association of Chicana and Chicano Studies.
Okay.
This was founded in the early 1970s by Chicanas and Chicanos, and in other intellectuals, community activists, artists, I mean, you name it. And it was a collective of people who came together to create a space so that they could share research, promote research, and have annual conferences and other kinds of programmings that would facilitate the development of people in higher ed and then beyond. And so it's a national organization, and this national organization, which has been around since like 1972, I think.
Correct.
And it's sort of divided up into chapters now, so that Texas has a chapter, therefore NACS Tejas, right?
Right.
And so that's what that organization.
And what is Foco?
Foco is the meeting, the gathering.
Oh, that like
the conference.
Okay.
And
like a focus.
That's correct. That's correct. And so every year here in Texas, like in other places, the chapters put on annual conferences. Last year we were at Texas Tech University, and so it's a traveling kind of conference.
Right.
And it brings.
So how many participants do you expect?
A lot. It blew our mind. We were surprised. We thought we were going to have maybe a handful of panels. But we had outpour. We had to ask for more classrooms.
Yes.
And so it's
2 more classrooms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's 2 full days of sessions. And like Jesse said, Dr. Esparza, there's going to be people talking about their teatro, talking about their poetry. We have scientists that are going to be there, which is the first. Or
There's going to be scholars, writers, performers, artists. Students are going to come to this thing. And students don't just come to come. They're going to be there in attendance. They also come and they present their work. They're in graduate school. They're undergraduate students. And so it's going to be a very diverse group of just individuals, thinkers, raza from all over the place in Texas are going to come, and they're going to converge at the University of Houston downtown.
All over Texas or United States?
Texas.
Just Texas.
Well, we have some people coming from California.
That's right.
Because people come from New Mexico. But most of our attendees, most of the participants come from Texas. And they're coming from places like El Paso, from the Valley, from North Texas. And they're all going to come here at February 26th to the 28th at the University of Houston downtown.
Yes, and I want to thank y'all for allowing me to be on one of the panels.
And yourself, you're also, that's right, you're presenting. That's right.
Like we said, a large outpour of participants.
Yes, thank you very much. So let's see, when y'all were younger, undergrads and grad students, did y'all attend conferences like this, and what impact did these type of spaces have on your sense of possibility as scholars of color?
So when I first went to Knox, this 2007, I was inspired. I felt like it was a Chicano retreat when, I was energized. I was ready to go back to work and do, I call it fighting back or resisting, but it's really academic work and to showcase those types of voices that have been marginalized or not, understudied.
It feels like you feel like you're somebody and you're accomplishing things that everybody else could accomplish.
Yeah, and you're in a space where people are like-minded.
Yes.
And we're not there to punch down on anybody. We want to lift up people. One of the groups that Dr. Esparza didn't include is we have some of our elders, right? Our old school writers, Chicanos. That Cynthia Orozco is going to be there. Lupe San Miguel is going to be there. Emilio Zamora is going to be there. And so so they can see. What I'm trying to get at is that there'll be these mentors there, right? And we ourselves want to also be mentors that we had when we were growing up,
right?
And our academic heroes and sheroes, right?
Right. Of course. Well, I mean, it's going to be a big conference. How many participants did you say? About 500?
It's hard to say, right? We're always racking our brains. We don't do numbers, okay? That's the way. But we have like 48 sessions taking place in 2 days. And some of those sessions have several, 4 or 5 presenters.
Yes.
And that's not including those who are registering. That's not including any students from UHD who can come to the conference, by the way, absolutely free.
Yes.
That's not including any of that. So we're probably expecting anywhere between 40 to 50, maybe 60 people per day.
Wow.
On Friday and on the Saturday, all the days of the sessions. And so it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
We promoted this thing well.
Yes.
The numbers are just astronomical.
Yes, absolutely. So what has it meant to both of y'all on a personal level to move from being a conference participants to being co-organizers and hosts, because now that you're at a different level?
Yeah. So I remember when I first went to the Knox conference, I went as a graduate student, and I was just blown away by the number of people in that space that I was already reading as a student.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's the author who wrote that? I just read that.
Wow.
And I was blown away. And then as I continued to attend, and then I was sort of mentored into presenting, I was also then blown away with just the level of care and cariño that these elders, these mentors, we mentioned Cynthia Orozco, for example, that they just provided. And it's in that vein that I now play my part, right? And so I want to do for others as was done for me. They didn't need to mentor me the way they did, but they did, and that's brought me a long way in this profession. I mean, they write letters of recommendation for me, and they do all kinds of things for me. And so I want to do the same for the next generation of leaders, and I want to continue to uplift everybody. We all need to uplift.
Right.
And so it's as a Chicano, it's my responsibility and a duty to do this. And so we didn't know if it was going to happen this year. We didn't know where it might take place. And so very immediately we're like, hey, we can do it in Houston. And so we talked about it.
Right.
We got tons of things already on our plate. We're like, you know what?
Right. It's a big undertaking, I'm sure.
It needs to happen. We should do this thing. And so really, I mean, it's my honor to do it. And so I just want to do what the Cintia Orozco's and the Lupe San Miguel's and the Emilio Zamoras and the Mario Garcias have done for us so that we can do it for others.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
We're passing it forward. We have a whole team. It's not just Dr. Esparza and I. We have a team of archivists, public historians, civic leaders, community leaders, advocates, activists who are on our team. So we're not doing this alone. We
couldn't do it alone.
No.
We have a team of 12 or 13 people who meet with us weekly.
Yeah.
And they get this done with us. But when we got together to talk about this, I mean, we live right now in a very tempestuous moment.
Right.
Where there is massive censorship. And people live in a state of fear for a lot of reasons.
Right.
No access to health care. Maybe there's no access to food. What's going to happen with the storm? No access to water.
Right.
What's this I hear about law enforcement coming knocking door to door?
Right.
So people live in a state of fear. So we wanted to put on a conference where we push back against that. And so the theme of the conference is resilience, resistance, and resurgence.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to make sure and let people understand that we come from a community where we don't just stand on the side and allow these things to happen. We fight back. We've always fought back. And with whatever resource we have available, we fight back. And so resistance is in our DNA.
Right.
Resistance, it makes up our community. And so this is what when we came together and said, well, let's do this thing. And let's do it so that people understand there's power in people, and hopefully it turns into a call for action.
Right, absolutely. So what I want to ask you is, what do you want it to feel like for people walking into that space? What is that? What?
To belong, yeah. This is a space for me. I'm going to take up this space. You deserve to be here.
Right.
You deserve for your words, your research, your conversations to you have a space for that is what we want.
Right.
And we want people to feel welcome. We're going to have comida. We're going to have music.
Yeah.
Chicano Boulevard's going to be there. We're going to have a danza azteca, and so.
That's going to be awesome. It's going to be a very, very nice conference. Looking back on your own journeys from students to historians to organizers, what advice would y'all offer to young Chicano and Latino students who may not yet see themselves reflected in the history books? What advice could y'all give them?
Keep fighting, keep writing, keep researching, keep thinking, keep thinking independently, critically about the world around us. Think historically. For my students, I tell them when they come into class, you're wearing you're putting on your hat of a historian. I want you to think, the way that you think critically in this class. Take it to the next course. Take it to the next semester.
Right.
Take it to the next step after you leave these walls of academia, and to keep on fighting.
Right.
I would say, and I'm going to talk to the viewers. I would say to question everything, and don't accept what you hear as truth. Dig deep and talk to people who you love and who you trust and who love you and find out what the truth is there. And a good place to start would be at this conference.
Right.
Come to this conference February 26, 27, 28 at the University of Houston downtown. The Center for Latino Studies is provided the space and the venue for us. We're going to have all kinds of intellectuals there. Everyone there is a truth teller.
Yeah.
So come to this conference. This is where you'll learn the truth and hear the truth and be motivated to go and seek truth and provide truth everywhere you go. And I think the Knox conference is a great place to start.
Yes. Dr. Esparza and Dr. Cantú, thank you both for sharing your insight, your scholarship, and your passion for history with us today. And thank you especially to our viewers for joining us. If today's conversations inspired you, we encourage you to keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep celebrating our rich and diverse history. I'm Blanca Blanco, and this has been Viva Magazine Live, where our stories live on. Until next time, hasta luego, Houston.
Hello friends, this is Judge Angela D. Rodriguez. Primary season is upon us and election day is March the 3rd, but you may also vote early starting February the 17th through the 27th. We'll see you at the polls.